I want to thank you for joining me again as we continue on with our series, From Other to One Another, our daily devotional series that accompanying our Sunday morning sermon series. I want to thank you for joining us for that as we explore the richness of our relationships with one another. I've heard on a few occasions of people who have moved away from their home church and after a period of time have returned to find the church different. Something has changed and they aren't real happy about it. And they are really rather critical of their home church after they've come back. That's something like the context of today's verse as we deal with not judging one another. In Romans chapter 14, Paul tells the Romans not to judge one another, but in the context there, what had happened in the past is Emperor Claudius had expelled all of the Jews from Rome. The Roman church was largely Jewish at the time, and the Jewish people would largely have been the leadership of the church at that point. But then the Jews are expelled, and for a period of time, then the Gentiles become the leaders of the church and begin to make decisions and stuff related to their context rather than a Jewish lifestyle and Jewish context. When Claudius is no longer emperor, Emperor Nero rescinds the order that the Jews be expelled, and the Jews return to Rome. But what they find is that where they used to be the leaders of the church, they are now delegated or designated to a second-class tier. And some things have happened there in the church that they're not real comfortable with. See, the Jews and the Gentiles end up wrestling for control of the congregation. Who's going to be in charge? Who's going to be the leader? And in that context, Paul says, therefore, let us not pass judgment on one another any longer, but rather decide never to put a stumbling block or hindrance in the way of a brother. Not judging one another has become a big issue nowadays, and usually what we talk about with that, or when that's being used, people are saying, you can't judge whether or not what I am doing is right or wrong. When they use that verse of scripture in that way, they're completely misunderstanding what it means. For the term judge is a legal term, a term that really has to do not with an arrest, not with the assumption that you've done something wrong, but with the judge passing sentence after the person has been tried and found guilty. That the Romans and the Gentiles, or the Jews and the Gentiles, are treating one another in that way. Judging them and condemning them, finding them guilty and sentencing them because of what they've deemed as wrong. The Jews were condemning the Gentiles for being morally weak because they weren't observing the law. The Gentiles were condemning the Jews for being morally or spiritually weak because they wouldn't allow freedom. And the Jews were taking that place and placing that stumbling block is expecting others to live in a way that their culture, I'm rejecting them because they don't fit into the little box that I want them to fit into. And it causes them to stumble in their faith because I've created a mark, I've created a standard to which they can't live up to. What he's saying there is decide no longer to create stumbling blocks for each other. Reject those opportunities to reject each other. For some of us, we need to do that. We need to stop creating stumbling blocks. For others of us, the issue is we need to start deconstructing them. We need to start tearing them down. Start removing the obstacles that we have placed before one another.